Okay, so we're about to wrap up. Anything else you'd like to share on Coti or on cVIX or anything else we didn't cover?
Yes, maybe a lot of people ask about how traders can benefit from cVIX, so I would like to talk about three things, and put in mind that this is already working. I mean, we've already shared a few examples on recent events. We're going to have another one tomorrow covering the recent surge in Bitcoin price and how you could have profited from that even if you didn't have Bitcoin, or if you had a Bitcoin and you've profited from that, how you can hedge that and make sure that that you can take away that profit and without worrying from a price decline or even a price incline. But we've tested it around the COVID-19 crisis, the DeFi token price crash, BitMEX lawsuit, Trump coronavirus news, recent OKX. Okay? So all of that is already put into graphs, and we show you that how it works. But traders can make three things with cVIX. One is just hedge yourself against a black swan event. We're circling back to Nissim Taleb now. Black swan event meaning an event that you just can't plan for, like COVID-19, for instance. So if you put long on cVIX, you're going to hedge yourself, because when these events happen, the market fear index usually goes up pretty high, and if you had already had that and you bought it at a lower price, then that gain is yours, and it can be quite a substantial gain. During COVID-19, the market fear index went I think 3x or something. So that is substantial. You're not going to lose 3x of your portfolio, right? So
a quick question, sorry to interrupt. So that's kind of like a form of tail risk hedging, because I'm also a big fan of Nassim Taleb, right? And one of the things they kind of do is buy out of the money put options as a way to hedge, kind of buying insurance on any downside risk. So this is kind of doing all of that without having to manage options.
Yes, so you don't need to manage options, but it's even more than that, because we had in traditional markets, you have options, but you still have volatility index. Why? Because the big difference, and this is a subtle point, but you need to get it, is that it's not the same asset class. You can't be very effective with hedging when you use the same asset class as what you bought and what you hedge with. But if you're getting a very different asset class like volatility, you can actually hedge yourself really effectively. So that is like the main difference. But there is not only that, there is also a strategy for an overheated market. Let's say we're back in maybe July, August, and DeFi is booming. When you want to hedge yourself against both ways, because you like the way things are, but you don't want to just pay a premium and buy a downside protection in case everything crashes, because you still think maybe we'll still do well. If you're buying cVIX, you're actually hedging both ways, because even if the market remains volatile and prices surge every day, 15%, or if it crashes 15%, you don't mind, because either way the cVIX will surge. So you're defending yourself, or not just defending yourself, taking opportunity for any type of volatility. You can be a trader that usually profits from volatility, and there are a lot of strategies of how to profit from volatility.
It's kind of like a straddle for options in a way.
Exactly. So what you're actually worried about is not it's not volatility. It's actually the lack of volatility. When the market just stagnates,
when it's flat, neutral, sideways,
no ways for you to profit. So you can actually go short on cVIX or become a liquidity provider, and you're actually taking profits from that. So there is a strategy for each situation that you're looking at, and this last one is called backslope. So you're looking at a market that became very heated, and the one thing that always happens with volatility is that volatility over time, it can be short time, long, but over time, volatility declines. Everything stabilizes, in this physical system. Everything stabilizes eventually. So if you have enough patience, you can be a liquidity provider. And when cVIX is very high, you know that eventually it's going to have to regress to its mean average. You don't know that on Bitcoin or any other asset class, because what is the right price for Bitcoin? You have many opinions. Is 13 the right price? Is it 20, 100, 3? Who knows, right? But volatility will settle. That's always the case. It can't be different than that. So for the short terms, traders can have great opportunities of hedging or just taking opportunities. I think volatility will increase. Great, I'm buying cVIX now. I'm afraid that volatility will increase. I'm buying cVIX now. So there are many techniques, but if you want to be a liquidity provider, what you're actually banking on, and you can bank on it, that over time, volatility will decrease and you will take substantial profits. And this is why I think that becoming a liquidity provider on cVIX is an unmatched opportunity, because you're not just taking fees from the system. You're not just getting cVIX tokens that the market will decide how much they're worth. You're actually taking the wise position of understanding that volatility will decrease over time. It may be a few days, a few hours, a few months, but over time, volatility has to decrease and you will take your profits. So you're the insurance company for everybody that is buying premiums, which in some cases they're happy to lose because they're hedging a portfolio case that is worth much more than that. So this is a great position to be in. And I think this, and time, hopefully over time we can prove it to a wide audience that that we've created an alternative, not just to Uniswap or Balancer, they're great, but for the swap economy. Swap is super basic. Swap A for B, that's super basic. What we're offering is very different. It is posting liquidity, but we're doing something very different with that liquidity. And I think this can be far more lucrative without the risk of impermanent loss and whatnot. But I think
because this to me also seems like it could be an alternative to elastic supply cryptocurrencies like Amperforth, because Amperforth kind of has the same concept where it goes up or down, but eventually it's meant to revert back to the mean of being a dollar, basically a stablecoin. Right? It's basically a volatile stablecoin, but as opposed to being a stablecoin, you're doing it with VIX index for crypto.
Yes, but and the nice, the calming factor of it is that we're measuring the biggest cryptocurrencies out there, to begin with Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So the rules of volatility, everything will apply there because of their high market cap. With smaller caps, sometimes physics change. It's like when you're going on supersonic speed and everything changes in physics. And in these higher caps, we've looked at history, since when you can get historical data. So I think it's 2014 or something that you can get actual data. This thing works. You can look at and decide on the proper trades over time, and this will work every time. And this is why, again, very differently in the traditional finance, VIX, which we're not associated with, this is why it became so popular and so quoted, because volatility is an amazing thing to measure, and it was missing in crypto, and we're very happy to bring it in. And again, in a very decentralized manner, people can build around it. That would be great. We want to see this ecosystem thrive. But I'm hoping, that in our next interview, we could look back to today and say, wow, this is so much bigger than what we have anticipated.
So currently you have Bitcoin and Ethereum. Any plans to add other cryptocurrencies?
It depends on their perspective on market cap, and we're using Chainlink's Oracle to gather all the data. So it depends on where they are connected and how data is gathered. But even now we're covering more than more than 70% of the market anyway. So we're pretty good as it is. But yeah, as this ecosystem grows, it can grow with it easily.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, I think it's also important to note that we while we've built cVIX in the nights, we're still working in the days building Coti, and a lot of exciting things happening. I've hinted to some of them, but we will have the GTS, the Global Trust System for Bitcoin, coming. Debit card, EMI license, which I've mentioned. We're going to disclose an amazing merchant coming into the network, and a few other surprises in the horizon, all happening in this quarter.
Okay.